Triston Burnham is a entrepreneur. He's most notably known as one of Cincinnati's best realtors. Um, do y'all say realtors? What do y'all say?
Realtors, I really consider myself an advisor.
How's an
So I would
advisor?
say real estate advisor. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, so we met probably about 3 years ago now.
At least, yeah. Probably,
Yeah.
Yep. My first year.
Okay, yeah, man, and I was when I met you, I was first of all I was impressed because you're a young black man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, doing real estate, and I don't think people really understand. Not a lot. Not the average person don't really understand the true importance of realtors,
Yep.
right? Or being in the real estate industry.
Yep. Yep.
It's a lot of I hold realtors to a high regard, man. I
We
really do
appreciate that.
because we know how it is historically for marginalized people of color in the housing, just owning,
Yep.
and things like that. You guys know some things and some history about real estate that the average person does not know.
Absolutely.
Which makes your job even more important. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when we're talking about real estate and in the buying, we're talking about the buying process.
Right.
So
Yep.
we're talking about credit. We're talking about debt to income and stuff like that, right? But y'all get a lot deeper. Like
Absolutely.
so what are some things that that you have learned since doing real estate
Oh, man.
that the average person wouldn't even think about that is important?
There's a bunch of things I learned that I can talk all day about the things that I learned since starting the business.
Yeah.
Because for me, before I even got into real estate, there was very little that I knew even about the process or what it meant. What is real estate? How much does that encompass? I learned a bunch about what that really, what's all included in that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't grow up around, like most of us, we didn't grow up around real estate conversations, credit conversations. If you asked me what a DTI was 3 years ago, I had no idea. So some of the biggest things that I learned is just how much real estate is connected to the entire world and how the world functions. When people think real estate, they just think, normally the first thing that comes to mind is a single family house, because that's what I thought, and obviously I come from a background where my parents never owned a home.
Yep.
That's part of the reason why I got into real estate. But, what I've learned is that, there's residential, there's commercial, we're doing land, we're doing industrial, we're doing all types of assets that I would never even have thought about. So I think the biggest thing is just how much you can do in real estate, the different avenues and all that's out there as an investor or agent,
Yeah. Yeah. So what about when it comes to the market? Like we hearing a lot of things as far as the market goes right now, man. 1 minute you hearing the rates is going up.
Yep.
It's like a popcorn thing going on with the rates right now.
Yeah.
How you feeling about the rates?
Honestly, if you ask me, so I've been doing it for 3 years now. And I started during the pandemic. So I got to see a lot of things changed in these past 3 years when it comes to rates. I feel good about it, especially 2024. I feel like we're going to have a good year. Rates have slowly started to trend down. We've been at a high. We reached our, I think, 20-year high in November.
Okay.
But now we're getting into a better space. And, historically, we're still low. There was a time where people were getting interest rates for 12, 13, 14%. Those are long gone now. But, if you ask somebody that bought a house in 2020 with a 2.5 or 3% interest rate,
Man.
7% might seem like a lot to them.
Heck yeah.
Which it is, I think it's all about perspective.
Okay.
So I think we're in a good space. We recently just touched below 7, roughly 6.8 across the board. But, there's a lot of other factors that really go into home buying that people should really focus on aside from just the interest rate. So, I think we're in a good space. It's just always a conversation to be had.
What are some of those things that you think people should focus on, when it comes to the home buying process or just owning in general?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and what I hear a lot is, when is a good time to buy? A lot of people ask me, hey, I don't think I should buy now. I heard in the news that it's not a buyer's market,
Yeah.
which it isn't. For a long time now, it hasn't been because there's a lack of inventory. There's more buyers in the market than there are houses to sell to people.
Okay.
So I think the biggest thing when people ask me that question is, hey, when's the right time to buy?
Yeah.
I think it really depends on your situation. You know, you should buy when you can afford to do so.
Gotcha.
And make it a business move too. You know, part of what I do as an advisor is letting you know what the investment looks like rather than just purchasing a house. Because people purchase homes for different reasons, you know.
Yeah.
They purchase houses to get a bigger space for their family, or some people need to shrink down. If you're older in age, maybe you don't want steps or something like that. But know your situation, know why you should buy versus renting, and then, you know, talk to an advisor like myself, and I'll let you know, hey, you can afford a $250,000 house. Maybe it's $1,200 a month in mortgage, and you're paying $1,400 in rent. You know, so I think it's more so when you can afford to do so and if it makes sense for your situation.
Yeah. So how does a person avoid? So say for instance, I come into a property at this 7.5. You know what I mean, 7.8, and the market changes and it goes down. Like, do you advise people, or do most advisors advise people to make a move when it does? And is there a certain time that they should and shouldn't?
Absolutely. And, you know, part of me considering myself as an advisor, and every agent at our office at 3CR, we consider ourselves advisors because we're not one and done. You know, we're not here to give you the keys to a house and then move on and you never hear from me again.
I got you.
Part of my job is following up with those old clients. Let's say you bought a home last year, 7.5% interest rate. You know, you can refinance 6 months after owning a home. So I'm giving them a call 6 months later and say, hey, rates are down. You were at a 7.5. We're at, 6.6.
Yeah.
Have you thought about refinancing? You know, maybe the house appreciated in time, or maybe you need to give it a little bit more time to build equity. But ultimately, you bring down your monthly payment because the interest rate ties directly into your monthly payment.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you refinance 6 months later, maybe you can shave off $200 or $300 from what you were paying. And now you have a lower monthly payment. You have the same home.
Got you. That makes sense. Let me ask you this. On the investor side, I guess it would be considered investor side. So, So imagine a person who has an opportunity to purchase a property, and they don't need financing or anything like that, and they already have maybe a deal in place or a potential deal in place. What's the benefit of having a realtor in that situation?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people will look at it like, well, the realtor is just a middleman. I mean, this is a done deal. Like, this seemed like a slam dunk to me. The numbers seem right.
Yeah.
How can you assist them with that due diligence to make sure that it is a good deal?
And I think that's the brunt of what we do as realtors, you know, is the assistance and the knowledge side to things. Because, you know, you can be a seasoned investor, and I even work with seasoned investors myself that's still calling me to say, hey, double check my numbers, you know, make sure this value is what I think it is. You know, if I buy it for 50, can I flip it for 200? You know, double checking their numbers, and also keeping them intact on the long game. You know, I'm not just teaching the short game and saying, hey, you know, you're going to start cash flowing $1,000 a month when you buy this property. But okay, down the road, when you refinance, let's pull some money out of it. Let's go buy another property. You know, it's the long game as well as the short game. So, you know, a lot of people, when they want to understand what a realtor does and they think, oh, we're just showing houses and giving keys to people at the closing table. There's a lot of conversation involved in what we do. And, you know, a lot of times people are making the biggest decisions of their life. You know, I've helped people make their biggest financial decisions of their life. And it's very important that you do it the right way, because I always tell people you make your money as an investor when you buy. You know, if you buy correctly, you will have exit strategies to get out of it. You know, whether it's renting it, flipping it, or wholesaling it, we'll have an exit strategy for it. So I think the biggest thing we have to offer as realtors is just making the right decisions throughout the process, negotiating and all that plays into it.
That's what's up. So you had mentioned something about let's take something out of it.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So, you know, without diving too deep into the rabbit hole, because, you know, I'm not a lender, but fortunately enough, we work with a lot of lenders that it's a three-headed beast when we're working on a property. Typically, your realtor, your lender, and your title company.
Okay.
When we're talking about pulling cash out of a property, that goes back to the refinance. You know, as you're paying down on your payment after you buy a home, you're you're building equity over time versus renting. You know, that money isn't going towards anything. It's not yours. You don't own it. Now, when you buy a home, like I said, 6 months down the line, you know, it might be a bit early for the amount of equity that you want to accrue. But if you're owning a home for 4, 5, 6 years, the market changes a lot. I mean, we had people that bought homes in 2018 that sold in 2020 just because the values of it exploded so much. And we can't predict why or when it will happen. Yeah. But what I do know is buying a home, you will appreciate in value. Yeah. It's always going to trend up. You know, if you're keeping the property in shape, it shouldn't lose value, but it'll always gain equity in that home. So when you refinance, what you can do is typically pull out 75% of the value of the home. Okay. And that's cash in your pocket. You can use to do, you know, whatever you need to, which is, you know, buy it, put towards a down payment on another property. Maybe you're taking a vacation, treating your family, but it's your money that you leverage to pull back out of that property. And now you have $50K. And that's what I teach as buying a home versus, you know, just buying it and looking at it as an investment. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't know that. They said, well, down the line, I just pulled out $20K out of this property to do whatever I needed to do. Yeah. I didn't have this $20K last year.
So you basically make yourself the bank.
Yeah.
Essentially.
In a way.
Yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, depending on how many assets you really own and you can control, like, as far as the equity goes.
Because let's say you're a avid investor and now you have 3 or 4 properties that are doing the same thing. They're cash flowing, you know, you're making good money on them, or maybe you just own a home that you live in. You know, you spend 10 months in that property. I'm sure you've built up a lot of equity in that property. And, you know, by the time you're ready to sell it, you've probably refinanced a couple times when the rates dropped. Gotcha. You know, pulled out $50,000 here, you know, $25,000 there, and then you go sell it, and you still sell it for what it's ultimately worth. Gotcha. You know, if it's a $250, you're still selling it for $250. You know,
so it's a matter of leveraging other people's money. Basically.
Absolutely.
I got you.
And that's what home ownership does for you. You know, it allows you to, you know, create opportunities for yourself.
Nice. What made you get into real estate?
Honestly, you know, I got into real estate. It was 2020 when I decided to get into real estate. The biggest thing for me was I was working a delivery job. I got tired of that job. And during the pandemic, you know, I couldn't go back anyway. So, you know, I didn't want that to ever happen again. I didn't want to end up in a situation where I'm sitting at home and I can't make a move because, you know, everything's shut down or, you know, you call in today and, you know, they don't care if you're sick, if you're healthy, if you're not, they can let you go. And I've been let go from jobs, or, you know, they tell you, you know, people will tell you, managers will tell you straight up, hey, we can find somebody to replace you tomorrow.
Ain't that crazy?
It's crazy, man. Yeah. And I've never been a big fan of that. You know, I respect everybody that does it. Everyone that's 9 to 5 and W-2, you know, it's a grind just like everything else is. But for me, I wanted to work for myself and I wanted to be able to create opportunities for myself. Real estate, there's no ceiling. You know, there's a bunch of things I can do with it and I can make as much money as I put forth. You know, if I put the work in, you know, the amount of money I make is completely up to me.
That's what's up.
So that's why I wanted to get into real estate, and I thought about wholesaling because at the time wholesaling became very popular. Yeah. Everything on YouTube, everything on Facebook was just talking about wholesaling, trending everywhere. And I'm like, they're making some good money. They're making some good money. So, and I'm like, I think I could do that. You know, if they're calling phones, I read on YouTube, I watched YouTube and figured out what people were doing, and I even tried it for a couple of months. You know, driving door to door, trying to find people who were selling.
Bird dog.
Yep. Just out there, just hustling, you know, trying to figure out something. And why not? It was the pandemic. I didn't have anything to do. I said, let me give this a shot. Fortunately enough, I met with my uncle in Georgia. I went down to Georgia for a week and met with my uncle. And he gave me some tips because I told him I'm thinking real estate. Okay. And the more I learned about real estate, the more I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. And he said, hey, I have a guy. He's in Cincinnati like you. He's doing real estate at Coldwell Banker. Get with him, talk, just have a conversation with him, you know? Yeah. And so, you know, best decision I ever made. I had coffee with him. And he said, listen, you're young. I was 21 at the time. He said, you're young. Why don't you go get your license? That's dope. You know, because I expressed to him that being a wholesaler, it's hard to build credibility. When you're out here freelance, it's hard to, especially as a young black man, I'm going door to door and, I'm calling people and I don't even know what I'm saying to people.
Hey, bro, that's a hustle.
It's a different grind.
Is a hustle, bro.
Absolutely. And so he said the best thing you could do for yourself if you want a team behind you, which I did, he said, look into getting your real estate license. And so I took the money I had at the time and I, took the courses. I think it was October I started my courses that year. Spent 3 months grinding it out. And the last day of the year, December 31st, I passed my exam.
That's dope.
And I said 2021 is it.
You did it on you passed on your first
time?
First time. Hey man, a lot of people I know who took that real estate exam,
it's tough.
I know a few people, not everybody, but I know a few people that it took them 3 times to pass it, man.
And I think that's for most people. I think most people, fortunately, I've always been a good test taker.
Yeah.
I guess it's always been a good test taker, so I cram before the test.
It was them Ohio laws.
Yeah. And then they start throwing numbers at you. And if you asked me about those numbers 3 years ago, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no clue.
How you feel about
cap rates and everything. I didn't even know what a cap rate was.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I can just talk about it. I can get into it. I can dive deep about it. But best decision I ever made, man. And now I'm here and it's just grinding.
That's what's up. I think Jay-Z said something in one of his songs. I ain't even about to try to quote it, but he said something about a cap rate in there. Like, we ain't talking about that kind of cap.
It's different. It's different.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. What has being an entrepreneur taught you these last 4 years?
Yep, but 3 years. 3 years.
Okay.
Yep. I think the biggest thing for me is one, I never saw this for myself. At 21 years old, starting a business. It's not what I had on my bingo card.
Yeah.
But being an entrepreneur, it takes a different level of discipline, and it takes honesty too. You have to be honest with yourself because it's hard.
Yeah, bro.
And I've learned, my first 2 years, even up to now, like I struggle with a lot of things that, are discipline related or, there's no one checking on you to make sure that you made, $900 or X amount of dollars this week. There's nobody following up with you.
Real talk.
It's all on you. As an entrepreneur, everyone that's doing it, mad respect to them because people don't understand what goes into it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of sacrifice. I sacrificed time. I sacrificed old friends. I sacrificed old habits. And all of that just had to go out the window because there was no possible way I could succeed if I kept doing the things I was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being an entrepreneur, it's just a different level of grind and mentality that you have to get in because it's hard, man. Getting up every day and telling yourself, I have to get up today and do some work.
Yeah, man.
To make this work.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's so being an entrepreneur is insane, bro. Yeah. Being honest with yourself is huge.
Oh yeah.
So I had a situation where for 3 years I operated my business.
Yep.
Did well, even through the pandemic. Did well. But then I went into a slump, right? For whatever reason,
we went
into a slump, and I stopped my routine.
Yeah,
I stopped my routine, and I'm telling you, what you don't do this week, you are going to feel in 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
Like it's just gonna dry up. Your phone just gonna stop ringing, right? And I got tired. There was a few times I got tired. I got fatigued, and was just burnt out.
Yep.
And I took a break. And as soon as I took that break, I felt it like 3 months later, man. And I had to be honest with myself. Like I felt the dip.
Yeah. And
I tried to do everything that I could. But like I said, you got that gap. You got that window. And if you let that gap close in, as soon as you slow up, things gonna dry up. And it dried up on me. And I had
to stick to it.
I had to come to Jesus moment like, yo, you got to do something. You know what I mean? So I made the decision to close my brick and mortar at the time. And, once you do that and you relieve yourself of some of that, then you can start to think clearer and you can, you know what I mean? But it's hard grinding from a deficit. It's hard grinding with your stomach touching your back, bro.
And
it's
and
hard.
Trying not to let people see that too.
That's a challenge within ourselves.
Absolutely.
I think it affects us more trying to hide it than it do people knowing. You feel what I'm saying? Because the average person don't know what you're going through anyway. Idea. So they ask like, yo, you still got the spot? You still got it? And it's like, nah, I ain't got it. It ain't like, in my mind, I'm like, a person is like, damn, he ain't got his stuff no more, man. In my mind, that's what you know what I mean. But
like, he fell off.
I mean, they like, oh no, you ain't got your crib. Like, all right, you ain't got your, you know what I mean, your spot no more. All right, well, hey, do my session over here. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how they thinking, but
because they could be going through something themselves, and I'm sure they are. And we all have those feelings, man. And like you said, it's tough because you have to be honest with yourself, but then you have to be honest with yourself again, and again and again, because you know, like you said, going out to face the world, knowing that you're not putting your best foot forward, or knowing that you took that break that like set you back, it's hard to grind with $0 in your pocket. Yeah, real talk. You know, and I've had those moments. And in real estate, it's a little bit different because, you know, we work and we might put in, you know, X amount of hours and we still get paid at the same time, 30 days later, roughly. Yeah. You know, we still get paid the same amount. We know how much we're getting typically. If you know the deal size, you know what your commission is. Okay. So and there's no factors that change that. So you know, if I decide, this 2 weeks, I fell in the slump for 2 weeks, and now I still have to wait after I get the deal the next week to close it 30 days later. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. You got to keep getting up knowing that. Yeah. I'm like, damn, I have to set myself up for 30 days in advance. Yeah, you do. I'm still going to be hurting through those 30 days, but it's hard to go out and face the public. But like you said, it's something in ourselves. You know, it's probably not necessarily the world looking at us, but we're looking at ourselves hard because we know what we should be doing, man. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. So let me ask you this then. So like, what are some of your habits? Like, what are some of the things that you do to keep yourself, you know, to keep your KPIs up and to make sure that you on a routine and you on track? Yeah. Part of it is goal setting. Yeah. And I had to set goals, but I had to tweak my goals. And thankfully, you know, at our office at 3CRE, they work with us on that aspect too, personal and business. I had to figure out what real goal setting was because I was setting goals, but they weren't realistic or they weren't attainable for where I was at. Yeah. Now they might have been attainable, but for where I was at, it probably didn't make sense. Okay. The goal setting got better. And structure. I had to build some type of structure because as an entrepreneur, you're just out here. Yeah. You know, you're just doing whatever you think you need to do to make money. But I had to figure out what are really money-making activities, you know, and we stress that a lot at our company. We're doing a bunch of stuff, but what's really translating to dollars, you know? I can go see 15 houses in a day. If somebody didn't put an offer in on them, I just wasted my day, essentially. You know, so I had to figure out the structure, and what works for me, because everybody's different. You know, my schedule doesn't look like the next guy's schedule. You know, your schedule might be different from my schedule. So putting those pieces in place, and then what I really got better at in this past year is just finding my niche, you know, figuring out where I get the most results. Yeah. Because instead of spending all this time in something that got me one deal, I can go get 15 deals doing this that works, that I know that works. You know what I mean? So that's something I got better at, is just building that structure and goal setting, you know, short term and long term and personal, because, you know, at the end of the day, we're here to make money. We're here to have fun with it. You know, we got one life. We got to live it. Yourself, creating a lifestyle. So I'm building things that I want to do. And the more I find out what I want to do, I'm like, okay, well, I need to make X amount of dollars to be able to do that. Yep. So business and personal plays hand in hand as an entrepreneur. You know, you have to do well personally to do well in a business realm, and you have to do well in your business to have fun personally. So it's double-sided. So one of the biggest things is knowing your numbers. Yeah, absolutely. And I struggle with that for years. So in the creative space, you know, we go through this thing. Well, not everybody, but there are individuals who go through this thing where you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find your niche. You're trying to, I don't know. I went through a thing where I just wanted to be an artist, right? But then I realized, like, I have such a gift and I have such a tool up under me that is lucrative. You know what I mean? As long as I work it, right? So then you go through a thing where you just doing everything, right? Because you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find out
what's the easiest? You trying to find out what is the thing that drives your passion. Like you go through all these different things, right? And so I went through a phase in my career or in my growing where I gobbled down every opportunity.
Yep.
Right. And I'm seeing it as I'm learning. It's an opportunity. I'm about to get known for this. But then when you think about what translates to dollars, right? It's like, bro, you can't do everything.
Goes back to those money making activities.
Those money making activities, man. So like, I don't know. So I've in the last 3 years, I've weeded down my business to what I really want to focus on.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes to how I know you and how I met you. It's like I spend a lot of my time around professionals, right? People who are entrepreneurs, people who are primarily in the real estate industry. I weeded my business down to narrow it down to focus and cater to those individuals that are growing themselves, and you know what I'm saying? And my mindset had to change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when I first started shooting real estate, I was still doing everything. I was still shooting club stuff. I was still, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you got a different mindset. When you go around certain individuals, it's a certain language. It's a certain demeanor. You know what I'm saying? And I bumped my head a few times. You know, thankfully, I had built up strong enough relationships that, you know, it didn't really affect the business side of things. But there were some, some learning curves. Yeah. You know, just as it is in any profession or anything that you want to endeavor into, you know what I mean? So my language had to change.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about, and we got a minute and a half, but talk to me a little bit about the mindset shift that you had coming into 3CRE.
First thing for me was maturity. Because like I said, I started at 21 years old and I was doing a lot of things that I was just accustomed to. So maturity meant separating from people, stop going to the same places, put myself around people that think like me, putting myself around people that are doing the things I want to do. You know, everybody at my company, I was meeting people that owned 50 plus properties or that are selling off portfolios and doing this, doing that. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to be an investor. That's what I want to do. So putting myself in a room where I can meet more of those people and we can talk about the same stuff. Aside from that, it's more so just learning the business. And any business you're in, you have to understand what that means. What industry, what ball game am I playing in? You know, basketball is different from football. Football is different from soccer. What does it take to be successful in my field, in my lane? And then, like you said, narrowing it down too. Because I was running around with my head cut off for first couple of years.
I'm sure.
Because you can just take real estate so many different places, and we do residential and commercial at 3CRE. And so when I start seeing the commercial stuff, I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do that. They're making some good money over there. I want to do that. But starting simple, learning what works, trying a few different things. There's nothing wrong with trying a few different things, but at a certain point, you have to have that discipline with yourself. Like, listen, let me just do this. You know, like you said, you were doing a bunch, club shoots. You're doing real estate. Let's see if real estate is working, and let's focus on that. You know what I mean? So the maturity, and then just learning as much as possible. Spent my first 2 years just soaking up the business and learning as much as I possibly could about the business, and that way I could talk the language. When I first started off calling people, they could probably hear it in my voice how inexperienced I was. But now, I started fake it till you make it, and eventually you'll learn and you'll come off as the professional that you should sound like. So it took time, but we got to that point. That's to that point where everything just started making sense.
So what does a realtor do to unwind and kick back?
So, my take on this might be a little bit different because I'm in a realm where a lot of my coworkers are a little bit older than me. I'm 24 years old, but what I've got to enjoy and why I got into this business is the flexibility. I'm not on a schedule. I make my own schedule. So, I get to maybe I'm out drinking at 2 p.m. or maybe I wait.
what's up.
Maybe I wait till 8. You never know.
I got you.
But it's just the flexibility of it. So I'm at the point in life where, you know, a lot of my friends are still young. We're all in that time where we're figuring ourselves out. A lot of them are still working W-2 or whatever it is that they do. So they're not as flexible. So I have to find what I can do by myself a lot. So a lot of times I'm just doing stuff by myself. When I get out, go to a bar, go get some food or something like that. But what I've stepped into recently, this past year, is traveling, man. It's been a big part of what I did last year just because, you know, I've done a lot in this city and, you know, I just want to have a little bit more fun in my life. So as a realtor, you know, I am making some decent money. I am getting to enjoy my free time. So I just get out and you know, I hit a couple cities last year. Went to Chicago for the Drake show.
First, I rocks with Chicago, man. I don't know. I got this connection with Chicago.
That was my first time there, man.
Really?
It was my first time. I spent 24 hours in Chicago.
Okay.
If that. I went there. It was the Drake's opening show in Chicago. Right. Went there. Drove there by myself.
Okay.
Kicked it. Went to the show. Crazy show. Got me a drink after the show. Hit the road. Came back to the city.
I got you.
Came back doing showings the next day.
See, that's the thing about Chicago, bro. It's that hop, skip, and the jump, man. You know what I'm saying? To the big city.
Good in Chicago.
I'm sure you did.
Oh,
like,
my God.
yeah. Oh, yeah, bro.
Soul food.
Yeah. I did a conference. So I've been to Chicago 3 times. Okay. And the first 2 times I was there on quick trips, 24-hour trips.
Yeah.
Business trips. But I got a chance to spend a whole week in Chicago. I went to a photography conference, man, called ClickCon. It was dope. And, man, I had a ball in Chicago, bro. We was downtown, and I didn't really get to, like, go to the south side. I didn't really get to, but I didn't need to.
Right.
Because, I mean, man, I don't know. It was dope. It was a dope experience. I ate good. Yeah, I ate good. We went to a couple clubs, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was dope.
It's a good time, man. I think if you ask a lot of realtors, most of us are traveling a lot.
Okay.
Just because, you know, whether we have a family or if you're on your own, I mean, you know, you get to make, like you said, you get to make your own time. And so whether it's Chicago, you know, I got family in New York. I visited them twice last year.
All right.
Been to Georgia like 3 times last year. I love Atlanta. Can't get me out of it. So, you know, that's just where I'm at right now. I'm just doing a lot of stuff for myself, and traveling is a big part of it.
Now, that's one city that I would love to explore a little bit more, man, is Atlanta.
Oh, man.
I don't know, man. Like,
and so I say Atlanta.
I'm really not the Atlanta dude. When you think about Atlanta, I'm really not the Atlanta dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like, bro, I be chilling. I don't club for real. I just like to sit back. Like, if I go somewhere, like, I just want a nice lounge, give me some cigars, give me some bourbon,
hear some good music.
Yeah, that's me. You feel what I'm saying? So if that's what the city has, then that's, you know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for. I ain't really the turn up king. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? But I know that there's something about Atlanta that I need to see.
Absolutely.
I just don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, when they talk about Atlanta, they talk about the turn up. You know what I mean?
And I think honestly for me, so I got family down there and I got friends down there too. When I say Atlanta, I'm really talking about all of Georgia because I've been in Conyers. Been in Atlanta. I got family in Tucker, Stone Mountain. So it's like all of it, you're driving like an hour or so between these, but you could find those spots. You know what I'm saying? So, and Carnival weekend, because my family, my background, they
got a carnival down in Atlanta?
Oh my God. They have Carnival weekend.
When is
Memorial's Day.
Oh, really?
Every year. It's like a religion. I promise you. You go to Atlanta.
I never knew that.
For Carnival weekend, it'll change your life. Because my family from Guyana, South America. You know, got that Caribbean background. So everyone's down there. You get Haitians, Jamaicans, Guyanese, Trinidad. All of it is just, they got a carnival that go down the street on Saturday. They got rum punch brunch on Sunday.
Really?
Oh, it's a whole thing. Juve Friday morning. They start at 8 a.m. They don't care. It's the best weekend.
So you
do yourself a favor.
You just put me on because
do yourself a favor. Go to Atlanta Memorial Day weekend. If you got culture in you, you need it. The food, the drinks, you'll never run out of it. I promise you.
You just put me on.
Yeah, I love it. That's what I did last year too.
I never knew that shit.
It's game changer, man.
Okay.
I love it because that Caribbean culture is like none other. I promise you.
That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So we got to check out Atlanta.
Got to check out.
That's what's up. Okay. So that's what I'm on. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. Okay. So what other type of things you went to?
You know, for me, I did a lot of stuff that I stopped doing when I got into real estate that I recently just start getting back into. I like producing. I like making beats.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I make beats. So
Okay.
I started picking that up again recently. I need to update my stuff because I got a lot of old sounds and old equipment. But
so you say producing. Old sounds, but you do realize like this is the world of tech we in right now, right? So people is making bread off of selling beats. Like when I do my videos, especially real estate videos, I'm paying, like I got a subscription. Okay. But I could imagine how much those people make off of downloads every month. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? Like, hey, I just, as a matter of fact, I got a younger cousin that's into producing and beat making. And I just told him about it and he was oblivious to it. Mm-hmm. And I gave him a couple websites. Dude, these subscription sites like Emotion Array and places like that, man, hey, jump on there.
There's a lot of places you can put your stuff out there, and it's getting streamed. You know, whether it's 20 to 100, or if you touching 1,000, great. But you can make some bread. Put it on YouTube. Put it everywhere. Put it on SoundCloud. Put it on everything.
I'm trying to tell you, man, because I mean, I think I pay like $50 a month. Okay, but. I mean, I get unlimited downloads, but it's almost like if you download something from Tidal or Apple Music, they're getting you getting the clicks. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you getting a residual every month from that. Yeah, like so that's a bunch of different ways to do it. You better pull in them crates, man. For real, so sound effects, everything.
Because I got a few guys that I know that do music. You know, a lot of my friends do music, and I don't see myself doing music a lot, but I love the studio scene. Yeah. You know, music is a big part of what I love. You know, I love music, so I love surrounding myself with that and hearing the sounds, making beats and things like that. So, you know, I do that. I shoot pool every now and then. Right. Just go to a bar and shoot pool. Do
you shoot pool or
I shoot pool?
Okay.
Now, I ain't gonna say like I can use. I'm not gonna say I'm there, but I'm I'm getting there.
You're nice.
There. I'm pretty nice. I'm getting there.
Okay.
But you know, aside from that, you know, I like to chill, man. I don't like to do too much. Like I said, if I'm going out, it's a bar or a lounge, just kicking it. Aside from that, you know, just surrounding myself with my friends. We have a good time whenever we link up and do whatever. But you know, I'm just really deep in my travel bag right now. I like seeing new stuff, you know. Get out and meet new people. Show me your world. Show me what you got going on, you know.
That's the thing. So let me ask you this. So like when you go to other cities or other countries, how are you staying? Like what's your accommodations like?
Normally Airbnb.
All right.
Because, you know, hotels, I'd rather have my own space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's actually gotten to a point where I know investors. So I'm contacting them directly like, hey, can I use your spot while I'm in town? So real estate is allowing me to build those connections. But
that's hard.
It's lovely. Yeah. It's lovely. But I think, I'm usually just staying Airbnb, going out. And I like to drive too. So I rarely fly.
Okay.
I drive places. I road trip.
See, you still young. Yeah. You still got that. Yeah. Man, I don't have the patience to drive to Louisville no more, bro. And that ain't nothing but an hour and a half from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't have the patience. Columbus, I got to go to Columbus next week for a conference.
Oh, I drive.
I don't want to drive.
That's an hour.
I wish I could fly to. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I don't have the patience no more, man.
I think for me, like I grew up, my dad was always taking us on road trips. Like with his family being in New York, we drove 11 and a half hours to New York.
Yeah.
And I would just sit in the back on my little DS or whatever, just playing games. But it stuck with me, and now I'm just a road trip kind of guy.
Got you.
Hit the road, play my music. And I'm good. Like I drive 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
Like I'm good, man. I just drove when I went to Atlanta, drove by myself, man.
Yeah.
There and back, 7 hours.
That's dope. So I love Airbnbs too.
Yeah.
I can't do a hotel. Really.
I can't.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I go to hotels, I go just to see like how they got it set up or whatever. But I don't like them. I prefer Airbnbs. And one of my reasons for loving Airbnb so much is because it's a connection to the community.
Yep.
Right? Like you got neighbors to the left and right of you. You know, that's that opportunity to make a connection or ask, yo, what's the best place to eat?
Yeah.
Not that commercial thing downtown. Like I want to go to mom and pop around the corner where dude got the soup stains on. You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a home cooked meal type dude.
I feel that.
You know what I'm
100%.
saying? Now don't get me wrong. I mean, I get in my upscale bag too.
Yeah.
But the mine ain't nothing like no
like it,
grease
man.
on the bag, bro.
I'm telling you, man. You go there, you find those little hole in the wall spots.
Yeah.
That's throwing down. Throwing down,
Yeah, real
man.
talk.
Full course meal, homemade type of prep. Yeah, that's what I like.
I love that, man. What's the best place that you've traveled to so far? Like what's on your top?
The best place that I've traveled to so far. It's a toss up.
Okay.
One, I'm gonna say Dallas.
Okay.
I love Dallas.
Dallas.
But I'm gonna go a step further. I'm gonna just say Texas.
Oh.
Because I don't feel like you could go wrong in Texas.
So you've been to Houston?
I've been to
too?
Houston, yeah.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have. As a matter of fact, I was just telling my girl the
I
other
spent
day.
less time in Houston than I did in Dallas, but I feel like you can't go wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to Houston in March.
Okay.
So I love rodeo.
Okay, yeah.
And I've never been to my first rodeo. Well, I've been to like the fair rodeo type thing, but I ain't never been to a real live rodeo.
Yeah.
So I'm going to a rodeo this year.
I want to go to that so bad.
And there's the Bill Pickett rodeo is coming to Houston. So
I've been seeing stuff about that.
Yeah, so I'm on it.
Okay.
So tell me about Houston, or tell me about.
I'm gonna tell you about Dallas because like I was in Dallas and I forget how long we spent there, but it was my friend's birthday and it's just a good vibe.
Really?
Like, I feel like down south is a different type of energy because I go out places and you ask people on the street, yo, where are you kicking it at tonight? Or yo, what spots is the spots?
And they forthcoming.
And they're like, yo, check out this spot we going to, a little hookah spot, indoor, outdoor vibe, good music playing. People, and I don't live down there, so it might just feel different, but it was just a little welcoming, It was a breath of fresh air, man.
Okay.
And then beautiful women.
I'm sure.
Beautiful women everywhere you look.
I'm sure.
I'm like, what a you can't go wrong in Texas is what I'm saying.
Okay,
you can't go wrong in Texas is
got
what I'm saying. But just great energy, man.
Okay.
And like I didn't do too much clubbing either. But I still enjoyed myself just going to like lounges, hit the Galleria.
But I think that the lounges is a thing.
Yeah.
Like now, you know what I mean? I don't think people is really clubbing like that no more. Like the hookah lounges and the.
That's cool for me because we still gonna have a good time. The music's playing good. You could sometimes you can order the food in the spots too. You can't stand up in a club and just be eating and snacking. But I'm going to a lounge, having some good food, and then. It's just chill, man. I don't want to do too much. And you have to spend all our money on bottles and this and that. We just chilling, get a couple drinks, and we good.
Okay.
So Dallas, Texas, and Miami. I love Miami.
I ain't been to Miami.
Oh my gosh, you got to go to Miami.
Okay.
You got to go to Miami. One, go there when the weather is perfect. I mean, it just feels amazing. The wind blowing just makes you feel good.
I got you.
Just makes you feel good.
I mean, Florida is just
makes you feel good, man. So Miami was definitely a vibe for me. We went down there. We got an Airbnb down there, so we didn't stay like in the pot, like southern Miami where people are hotel strips and everything
South
like
Beach
that.
and all
Yeah.
that.
We didn't stay in the mix.
All right.
But we were like, I want to say maybe west side of Miami or something like that.
But I hear somebody was telling me the other night, like this is probably about a week ago. Somebody was telling me that South Beach ain't really where it's at.
Not.
It's another part. And they told me what it was, but I don't know, so I don't really it ain't registered with me. But
I went to the beach just because you got to go to the beach. You just
sure.
got to get out there and feel that, which was amazing time. But we went downtown, Biscayne, and everything like that. and we hit the club, clubbing in Miami, because they got culture, you know.
Okay.
They not just playing the same songs that you hear.
Okay.
They playing everything that get the crowd
They get
jumping.
reggaeton.
Yeah,
They got the dance
I'm talking
hall,
about they got
everything.
dancers in there doing their thing. You know, you sectioned up. You got sections in there. Beautiful women walking around everywhere. It's just
Yeah, I got to
it
experience.
just feels
that,
good, man.
Yeah.
And you know, and honestly, I didn't spend too much money. Like I didn't have to go crazy.
All right.
I didn't have to go crazy to have a good time. Like
Because the environment was
we went to this
set
spot,
for
and I don't know what part of Miami I was in, but we went to this cookie spot because we just wanted some cookies. We got some good cookies. And then we like, okay, we're going to spend some time around here because we saw that it was club spots around there.
Yep.
So we start walking around. Man, there's people in the street giving out wristbands. Yo, come to this spot, wristband, you're getting free.
That's kind of
There's
how it
people
is in Vegas.
They in
They be
the
like
street
that. For real?
Talking about, hey, grab a wristband. We end up with like 3 different color wristbands. And all the clubs are like within a block vicinity.
Really?
So we like, okay, boom, walk in this spot, music popping, we get a drink there, we chill it, good vibe. Hit the next, walk around the corner, different spot. We sit down in a section, we didn't even have to pay for it. It was a little bit emptier, so it wasn't too many people in there, but we order our drinks and they're like, yeah, sit wherever you want. We sit down, we have a good time, the music going. We hit the third spot. By the time we hit the third spot, we got our drinks in us.
Yeah.
We feeling good, and we hit that one, and that one was like where it was popping.
It wasn't popping. So that's what. So I was talking from a entrepreneurial aspect, financial aspect. I was having a conversation with a gentleman just last night about like how it is in other cities versus how it is here. What people understand. So like club promoters, a lot of club promoters here, they charge at the door, right?
Yeah.
So you charge you paying twice to get in a spot, right?
Yeah.
Or if you want to skip the line, they got to skip the line, they got all that stuff, right? And other cities, a lot of times they let you in free. Yeah. Not all of them, but some of them let you in free because they understand what they gonna make on the bar.
They gonna come in, and especially if it's a group of people, you know they're going to buy a few drinks, few rounds or whatever. And I think that's the misconception, especially for people that haven't traveled a lot. Yeah. Here in the city, it's easy to say, like I went to Clutch, and it was like, it was late. Like I was walking in there like after midnight kind of thing. Yeah, like $20 for women, $40 for men. Yeah. $40, and it's 3 guys in the group and 4 women.
Yeah. You know we gonna drink good.
Yeah.
Like you gonna get that. Yeah.
Like and we get a hookah and everything because the girls want hookah.
Yeah.
I buy around, my guy buy around, my other guy buy around. We spending our money. Yeah. So it's like, why you got to tax us at the door? Like we just spent $120 to get in here, and it's like I think that's a misconception because like I've been like even in Dallas, even in places that I've traveled to, it's like. Normally, I'm not spending at the door. Normally, I'm not paying to get in somewhere. There are places you will go where you have to, which is fine. But then even when you get in there, if you pay at the door, I know I'm going in there. I'm going to have a ball. Because what they charging me at the door, like I pay $100 to get in somewhere in Miami, that $100 is going to be very much worth it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, I kind of understand why we do it like that here in this city. And I'm not well traveled, you know what I'm saying? And I don't club, you know what I mean? I just kind of, through the years, kind of understand the game here. A lot of the promoters aren't connected to the owners. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? And then the owners benefit off of, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, so I understand their mutual, you know, agreement or whatever, but I feel like I don't think they would just make so much more money, man. If like split like that bar, because that's where the money is for real. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's what y'all do. Ain't no knock to y'all. I get what y'all do.
Yeah, I could talk on forever about it. Yeah, and, you know, it's both sides to it. Everybody got to eat, but it's like.
But I think too, one thing about our city is, man, people don't travel for real. Yeah. Now I do know. A lot of our club owners, they travel, so they know what the game is in other cities. Our owners, they know what's up. But I think a lot of the club promoters don't really know. You know what I'm saying? They ain't seeing it from a bunch of different perspectives.
Man, there's people I know in this city that haven't even been to the West Side.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I could travel. I can drive around, and especially since I'm a realtor now, I've seen more places. But I can drive around Cincinnati, and I know streets. Like I can tell you, turn right on this street, turn left on this street. A lot of people haven't even been to the West Side. I'm like, you don't even know what's going on the West Side. West Side kind of nice. I lived out there for a couple years. You could find your spots out there, but a lot of people just haven't seen these things, man.
I can't stand. Hey, this ain't no knock to y'all West Siders. I mean, you know, y'all are where y'all are. Y'all love what y'all love, but bro, I don't like the West Side.
That used to be me too.
Bro.
And to be honest, I'm not that fond of it still. But it's its own type. It's its own
No,
thing.
it is. It's his own world over there. What I will say about the West Side, though, from an investor standpoint, it's some gems over there.
Yeah, it's some nice houses out there.
Man, I got a client, bro, that during the pandemic, when it was a realization that the inventory and everything was low, I promise I drove around with a client photographing properties. We probably hit at least 15 or 20 properties.
Yeah.
And he was liquidating. He liquidated over $1 million worth of properties, bro.
I can imagine.
And most of them, he got pre-2000s.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they done paid for themselves several times, and this was just the opportunity. You feel? I don't know what he did with that cash in, but I know he did something nice to leverage it. You feel what I'm saying? So I know a lot of people that was cashing in, liquidating properties and going buying apartment buildings, getting more doors, or buying. I know some people who was buying hotels, bro.
Okay, yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, man, I just went off on a 10. Like,
it's the power of real estate, man. There's a lot of opportunities out there, man. You buy now, who knows when the next pandemic type thing is coming? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, people were buying in 2018 and selling in 2020.
I'm just concerned. We just jump back on real estate just that quick. Like, I don't know. I'm not no guru. I don't know everything about real estate, but what I do know about real estate, like, I understand it well. And what scares me about real estate is, so say for instance, a house that would cost you in a CD neighborhood for $50,000-$60,000 is now $150,000.
Yeah. Price went up, man.
Man, I went and photographed a house in a neighborhood that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And this neighborhood was a neighborhood that was like a step up for our parents that was coming out, basically out the projects. Or, coming out the projects. You know what I'm saying? Or coming out of apartments. And it slowly made a turn. And I'm talking 85, 90s. You know what I'm saying? When the crack epidemic really started to take shape and stuff like that. It took a turn. A lot of people who started to own houses lost them and ended up renting from the people who ended up buying them type stuff, right? But this same neighborhood, now houses are costing $150,000 that bare to the bone, dude. Yeah. Like, we talking ranches, no basement.
As is.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's what scares me about the market, man. So, like, and I brought up that to say, like, how do you get equity out of something like you feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's going to take you forever to get.
Yeah. And that's part of why I said when you buy, you make your money when you buy. You know, do you want to buy in a neighborhood that's not going to be touched for another 20 years?
Yeah.
Or do you want to get a realtor's advice and say, hey, this is the trends in this area? Like people that bought in the West End before TQL came.
Well, we ain't talking about that.
Yeah, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But that's what's happening. You know what I mean? And it's like you get ahead of the curve and you realize, okay, over time, this is going to become something great.
Hey, shout out to my developers and investors that are in the West End right now.
Yeah.
Y'all winning. Yeah. I love it. I love to see it. I love to see
it.
It's
a beautiful thing.
Because where we was running in and out of grandma and auntie's house, crawling up and down all them stairs, we didn't own none of that stuff. You feel what I'm saying? And y'all in there, man.
Absolutely.
I love that for
and
y'all.
Speaking of which, 3CRE, Rachel and Felicia Bell, they both have listings coming up this year. Their new development in the West End, those will be coming out of 3CRE, 600,000 plus valued homes.
I love it.
At least 12 of them. So,
I love it.
you know,
man.
it's a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that we're involved as a culture as well.
I love
you
it.
know.
Hey man, I almost did a dance, bro, in front of one of my clients, man. Shout out to Black Tony Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I photographed
I know Tony.
you know Tony,
Yeah, yeah.
man, I photographed the property that they got down there, man. And I almost did a dance, bro. Like I'm like super happy. Not only was it beautiful or is it beautiful, but like they did a wonderful job on it. But just the fact that they in there,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It's a
like
good
I
feeling,
love
man.
it,
I
bro.
love
Just a
seeing stuff
block
like that.
away from TQL.
Yeah.
Man.
I love seeing stuff like that. And, you know, that's where I'm headed. That's what I got envisioned for myself. And just helping people that are doing the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good feeling.
That's what's up, man. Well, we're gonna wrap it up, but I'm gonna end with, you know, a question of or not a question, but just, you know, a conversation about you personally,
Yeah.
right? So you are on the board of the Sickle Cell Alliance
Yep.
Association. Like, what is your affiliation? What is your connection to that organization?
Yep. So that's been something that I've actually wanted to get involved with for a long time. So I grew up with sickle cell anemia, SS trait, and with a full-blown disease. And at the time, I was born in '99. My parents, coming from South America, then to New York, neither of them knew that they had the trait for sickle cell. So if you don't know, it's a disease predominantly found in African Americans. It's something that's very personal to me just because I've lived through it and there was little knowledge of it as I was growing up. Now we've gotten to a better point with medicine. You know, we've got to a better point with counseling and things like that. Yeah. But a lot of that wasn't accessible to me coming up. And so I fought through a lot of things. I had a lot of challenges growing up. And so joining the Sickle Cell Alliance Foundation as of this year officially, what I really want to do is bring a larger focus on it, because a lot of people, a lot of African Americans and other are living with the trait that they can pass on to their kids and they don't know about it. Yeah. You know, my cousin, he just had a child a couple years ago and she has the full-blown disease because both parents had the trait. Yeah. And so a lot of people don't know, you know, what that can mean, and then people get scared, and then parents aren't prepared for that sort of thing. So for me is my goal in joining the foundation is, one, bringing a lot of money back to the organization. It's a nonprofit organization, but you know, we lost a lot of things that I saw coming up. You know, I received a scholarship that was very helpful to me from the Sickle Cell Alliance Foundation when I first started college. It was $1,000, but that $1,000 paid for my new laptop and some of my books. Okay. We had that. We had partnerships with Make-A-Wish Foundation. You know, I was lucky enough to have my wish granted at the age of 11. Children's Hospital used to do a sickle cell research day. We haven't done that in, I don't even know how long. Pandemic, now granted, pandemic changed a lot.
It did.
Pandemic impacted a lot of nonprofits and such, but my goal is to bring a lot more information and knowledge to African Americans and other that could potentially have the trait. Yeah. But also, you know, raise the importance and be sort of a advocate for kids that are living with sickle cell, because, you know, when I was coming up, I didn't really have that. And so it was tough, the battles that I faced health-wise and still having to go through school, still having to perform physical activities. It was tough, but, you know, I'd love to get with kids that are growing up now with it and sort of talk to them and let them know that, you know, it's a fight, just like anything else. You know, any type of disease that you may be, or illness that you may be living with, it's a fight, but it's important to know that you have people in your corner that face some of the same things. So I'm very excited to be a part of that now as an adult. I can actually contribute now, and hopefully I can find a way to segue us back with the Realtists and the organization we have here with Realtors in Cincinnati. I would love to just bring more attention and be more of an advocate for some of those kids that are growing up now. Yeah.
So what was it like for you growing up with sickle cell? Did you have a lot of crises?
Yeah.
Or did you just, because a lot of us don't know what sickle. So
right.
I've heard Sickle cell being thrown around for years. As a matter of fact, I had a really close friend. Well, he was actually like a youth pastor at my church that had sickle cell, and we used to always like just think that he was on drugs or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when he was going through his crises, you know, I mean, I remember seeing him one time, and I'm like, I went back and told one of my cousins, like, bro, I seen him, and he just, he must have been high or something, like,
Right.
and it wasn't until after he died that I got educated on that he had sickle cell and what sickle cell was. You feel what I'm saying? He could have been in pain many days, but he was one of the most uplifting, cheerful, kind guys, man.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't imagine him being in pain because he was always happy to us and always had something uplifting to say. So what was your childhood like?
It was pretty challenging. I think it might have matured me quicker because, like you said, a lot of people don't know. If you don't have something, it's hard to know what that person is going through. So growing up, we started medicines around the time I was 11 years old and things like that. So back when I couldn't remember, I just know my mom was taking me to a lot of appointments. There was times my parents had to sleep in the room with us or Ronald McDonald House or whatever it was, just because I was hospitalized so much. And then I guess when I got to my preteen years, I was still getting hospitalized because I had crises pretty much on a daily basis. And that's what sickle cell is. In a nutshell, our red blood cells die quicker. They turn into a crescent shape, which is where it gets the name sickle cell. And, as they travel through our body to pass on oxygen and pass on the proteins to other parts of our body, they may become clogged up or they may not pass through as easily, causing pain in those areas. So, headaches, back pains, chest pains, leg, knee pains, all those sort of things I faced. And I've had a few of surgeries myself over the years as well. And each trait is different. Each form of sickle cell is different. I'm very thankful that I was able to, conduct my life, go through school, because I know people that had to live in the hospital and stay on regular blood transfusions and things like that just to survive. But a lot of hospitalizations, quick trips to the ER randomly. I might go to school feeling great, then come home from school and all of a sudden it hits me and now we're at the ER. So spent a lot of times in the hospital growing up, weeks at a time sometimes. Missing out on school, missing out on those type of things. And thankfully they've incorporated like IEPs and things like that now for people that face those type of things. But it was hard, my grades took hits at times just because, teachers didn't understand. If I had to put my head down in class just because my head is killing me and I'm in the middle of class, they might think I'm not paying attention, but I can't, So, it was hard for them to even understand that. And, had to get parent teacher meetings and bring in counselors from the hospital to help them understand. But it was tough, but like I said, I'm thankful that I was able to go through that. And thankfully I'm as healthy as I am now. I haven't been hospitalized in over 3 years. So, it's a blessing that we are where we are now with science and medicine and everything like that. But there's a lot more that goes into it aside from just medicine and routines. It's very mental. And I taught myself that at an early age, is that, you're as good as you tell yourself you are.
That's dope. Mindset. So, back to that mindset.
It goes back to the mindset, because if I woke up every day and said, I got a headache, this is it, I'm not doing nothing. I got to get a headache. Let's go to school. Let's still get good grades. Let's still play volleyball. I couldn't play contact sports, but they let me play volleyball in high school. So I found volleyball, loved it. I still play to this day when I can. But I couldn't do basketball, which I loved. I couldn't do football, which I loved even more. So it was hard understanding that too. It was like, why are you telling me I can't do this stuff? I think I can. I could run just as fast as the next guy. Why can't I do it? But you have to understand yourself too, and be real and place limitations on yourself too, because I can burn out quicker than other people.
Got you.
So just understanding that, and it was tough, but it was a mental thing, getting up and making sure that I kept myself in. I did all the things I had to do, drinking my water, taking my medications, things like that, so that I can feel as good as I possibly can, and then we can worry about everything else. Because what is good grades if I'm not feeling good?
Real talk.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me now is getting back to those kids.
So, where do you think the best starting point for the education is? I mean, I would say early childhood education.
Absolutely.
But you may say, start another starting point.
Yeah.
What's your take?
I think that for adults, it's important to inform them about the trait. The knowledge needs to be out there about the trait, and if you may or may not have it, because most people do, and not everyone is affected by it, so it can go under the radar.
Okay.
And thankfully, they test people now they test children at birth, and they test everyone at birth. But if my mom tested me at birth for sickle cell trait, I probably still don't know. Maybe they probably told us 24 years ago. I mean, I don't know.
Gotcha.
So for adults, I think the information starts there. But as kids, I think it really comes down to I would say early childhood, but I would even say maybe even 10 years old, preteen ages, where they can actually start to understand what some of it means. Because in schools, I think people should learn more about how it affects their peers.
All right.
Because, like you said, you had a guy that was going through stuff and you just didn't know. And some of my peers might have looked at me like, oh, he's getting special treatment because he has this going on. They don't know what I have going on. If I'm in second grade and I see a kid just, getting all these treatments, accommodations from the teacher, I'm probably like, why don't I get that, or what's going on? But it's an important conversation to be had. We've had situations when I was growing up where an instructor came from Children's Hospital and they did a whole demonstration about what it is.
Okay.
They bring in the props and everything like that, and they broke down to the other kids that, hey, your classmate has sickle cell, and these are some things, like maybe you can't tackle him as rough on the playground. Maybe you can't bother him when his head is down, or maybe if we need to turn the lights down a little bit lower, that's okay. So I think it starts there for young kids, just to know their peers, know if they're dealing with it. But as an adult, I think everyone should just go and get a double check if it runs in their ancestry, if it runs in their family, if they have the trait, or if it's something they should be wary of.
Wow. Man, hey, I appreciate you being transparent. How easy is that for you to talk about?
It's a lot easier now. I mean, and it's not something that, I feel like I can't talk about. I feel like it's more so something I want to talk about, just because I've dealt with it and I know what I went through.
Okay.
So it's a lot easy for me to talk about because I like spreading information, whether it's about what I do as a job or what I'm going through as a person. I think we can all use a little bit more vulnerability in this world because we all go through stuff, whether it's me battling, a pain crisis at work that no one knows I have a headache today, or whether someone just had a bad day.
Yeah.
We all have them. I think this world could use a lot more vulnerability. So it's easy for me to get up, and I feel like I'm an open book. I feel like people can approach me about anything and we can just talk. I like building those type of relationships where we're open because, we're all just human at the end of the day. Our problems are as big as we let them be, and we still got to go out and face the world.
Real talk.
So, I enjoy these type of conversations, and I think everyone should be more open to just saying, I'm not okay today. I'm like, hey, find somebody that you can go to. You don't have to be best friends, but find somebody that, if you feel like might care about what you have to say, and just, don't dump all your problems on them, but say, hey, today, listen, I'm just not having a good day. Hey, today my car broke down and it's just not one of those days, So it's important to have people like that in your life and, just be more open because what's the worst that can happen,
Yeah, that's dope, man. I appreciate that, man. So the Headshot Happy Hour is just what we talked about today, man. Like it is intended to be a resource. It's intended to be a platform for individuals to not necessarily vent, but share their experience, because just as we're experiencing something, there's a tons of people that's experiencing the same thing.
Absolutely.
And some of those people may be in a situation where they don't understand the situation that they in. So having these conversations help to shed some light and some insight into how somebody else is coping or dealing with things or navigating certain realms of society, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So like entrepreneurship, you know, it's really a community building effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, you know, you being a realtor, having certain knowledge about certain things, there's probably somebody who is traveling down that road or interested in that road, or you know what I mean, and don't know what first steps are. You may have just encouraged them to take that first step.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So that's what the Headshot Happy Hour was intended to do, man.
I think it's a great thing.
I just feel blessed to be able to have a platform and share it. Now, I am working on my consistency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As with anything, you know, it's not about, I don't know how. It ain't even about not having the time.
Yeah.
I'll be totally honest with you. Sometimes it's about, I don't know which way I'm going.
Yeah.
And if this is, sometimes, I mean, you can call it self-doubt, or you can just call it just being naive. Sometimes you just don't know if what you're doing is working. You feel what I'm saying? So, but what I have decided in my head is that this is an awesome platform.
Yeah.
And it's very important. Like it is, it's a gem. Like it's my contribution to society, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I am making the effort to be. I'm 3 episodes in and haven't dropped. Like I'm on that type of time.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about entrepreneurship and the toll that it takes on you, and just like what it takes to keep going. So by day, I curate after school activities for students, arts and social emotional learning, right?
Okay.
I'm, you know, that's the 9 to 5 thing, but I am 5 a.m. working on photography. You feel what I'm saying? And I might have just went to bed at 1. You feel what I'm saying? I'm Headshot Happy Hour podcast. Like, I'm producing 2 other podcasts right now for some other wonderful groups of people. You know what I mean? But they are important. Like it's building that dream. You feel what I'm saying? And that's really what motivates me and keep me going is I know what I'm doing. For the first time in my life, I'm on to something.
Yeah. And you just know.
I know.
You just know when it is.
Know.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, let's say, like in my time being a realtor, I've seen people come to our company and quit their job after they get established, after they get the first or second deal. And I think it's a beautiful thing because that's a big decision, but you just know. You know, some people wake up today and they're just like, this isn't it.
I ain't feeling it.
This isn't it. I don't think I'm doing it. But when you're walking in your purpose, you just feel it.
Yep.
You know when it's right. And I feel like last year I finally had that moment where I was like, listen, I've been doing this 2 years, going on 3 years. This is it.
Yep.
This feels right.
Yep.
Let me keep doing this because whether or not it translates to what I see it as now, it will be. You know, this podcast, if you're on your 3rd episode, by the time they get to episode 15, 20, whatever, you're going to be like, I knew it.
Yep.
I knew this is what I was supposed to be doing.
That's how I feel too, man.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I mean, I thought of this concept 3 years ago during the pandemic, you know what I mean? And it really came about when I was working with a couple clients and they was like, we can't get out and network. We can't, like me being out is my calling card.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we can do this session. But then let me just record you talking about your business. Let's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We recorded it. It was a dope conversation. And it was like, I can't really stop there because the information that we just put out, like I don't want it to just go with your sphere of influence. Yeah. I feel like that need to be
you gotta hit everybody.
broadcast.
Yeah.
You feel
as many
what I'm
people
saying?
as possible.
Yeah. So I thought of the concept of like, well, I need to do these video interviews like with everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I need to share them. You need to share them.
Mm-hmm.
We need to cross pollinate these audiences, and we just need to just.
And that's
keep
another
it
thing,
going.
because social media is powerful.
Oh no, it is.
And I tell
man.
people, like, all it takes is a share. Like, I've cut people off of stuff like that. I'm like, listen, you call yourself my friend?
Just
share my
It
business.
don't cost
just
nothing to share.
like it, and you could drop a comment. You could just say good stuff underneath it. Like
Yeah.
it goes to more people.
Yeah.
You know, the more clicks, the more eyes on it.
Yeah.
It helps me. It helps you. It helps everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's just you know, putting it out there, and like you said, this is what people need to see.
Yeah, real talk, man. And I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Like I don't take it for granted. The conversation that we had, you know, just your presence, man. I appreciate it. And then for you to be so young, bro. Like my daughter your age.
Really.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciate it. And my daughter's amazing. You know, both of my kids are. They amazing. But like to see you getting it in, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I know it ain't easy.
Not at all.
And then, you know, talking about some of the things you face, like, because I know you still suffer with some challenges too. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? But you doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it, man. Be encouraged.
I appreciate that.
Because with every transaction, every interaction, you changing lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, just so I've been through the home buying process before, so I know the ebbs and flows of emotion that goes through.
It's very emotional.
You know, I done, man, in the last 3 years, I done got 7 days within the table, and the deal done, you know, crashed.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So I know what that felt like, but then I also know what it felt like to get to the finish line.
Right.
So just know, like, even to be in the conversation of lending and loaning and signing papers, like that's an accomplishment to people. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you can, you have the ability to reassure people that they are on track, or they, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like we just need just a little bit more. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's a wonderful place to be. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like that's a powerful place to be. So, like, man, just keep going, man.
I appreciate it. And that's how I see it, man. I'm in a position to where, like you said, I am young, and, you know, there aren't many people my age doing what I'm doing, but I think this generation now is sort of shifting. Like a lot of people are starting to do more stuff for themselves and starting to push towards what they want to do. And I want to help them. You know, we can be home, like, right. I think that the age has been dropping for homeowners. I think the average age is like 29 or something like that now. You know, why can't it be 24? You know, a lot of us didn't have those credit conversations. You know, we got our first credit card and we maxed it out. Or, you know, we were in college struggling and they sent us something in the mail and we got it. They said $1,000 on it. I just know that, and I got it. Hurt us early on, and now we're working back from that. Now we're working to build our credit back up because we had to do what we had to do. But I want to put the knowledge out there. If I can't do anything else, let me just drop the knowledge. You know, if I can't help everybody, at least you take something away from what I'm saying, you know? So, you know, we're changing the game, and we're doing a lot of stuff that's going to impact a lot of people and really make a difference. So I appreciate the platform.
Oh, for sure, man. Absolutely, bro. So this has been a special episode of the Headshot Happy Hour podcast. I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you stay to the end, I thank you. I appreciate you. Continue to like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Headshot Happy Hour podcast. Man, let's build this community, and we'll see y'all on the next episode.